What the fuck is up, everybody? Adachi here, taking a look at Tales of Crestoria based off the moderately popular Tales of series. To give a little backstory, this isn't Bamco's first shot at putting a Tales of game in the West. This is one of many attempts that all ended in closure. This isn't to speak on their success in Japan, but strictly that they've failed to properly localize these games to a successful degree in the West. As for Crestoria though, I think that this is their closest shot at finding that success. They've nailed everything that a Tales fan would consider a 3D Tales game to have. Everything except the battle system, but in my opinion, it's fine. This game has intermittent skits within the story, a surprisingly good story for a Tales game, even including the original characters from the past games brought into Crestoria's world. Meaning that no, their stories aren't entirely canon, but I think it's neat to give the characters more of a backstory than just I'm a Gacha MC that summons silent heroes from different dimensions bullshit. Now I, and anyone else for that matter, would be remiss to say that this game has bugs. A lot of them. From varying performance issues to something as deep as launching a black screen and everything in between. There are some larger ones fixed, but this game is now 2 weeks deep and clearly was released before the product was ready. A clear example is what would seem like a simple to fix bug, to me at least, is the fact that the farming quests in the game don't actually work unless you set your time zone to JST. This would be fine, but me and many other people play more than just one game. This simple time zone fix ends up breaking other games from even working, and albeit a simple setting to go back and forth to change between, is still an inconvenience me or you shouldn't have to put up with when we want to unwind and have some fun with the game. Now with my opening rant out of the way, let's take a look at the combat. So here is the flashy neat little PvP loading screen here. You can see our two characters, our little character art we've picked here, and then our teams. This is going to be consisting of 4 main characters and then 2 subslots that will fill in as you get people killed out. Every one of these characters is going to equip what we will call a Memoria Stone, or what the game is called a Memoria Stone. This is an artifact, and I feel like I've explained this a million times, but an artifact in like Epic 7, a Craft Essence in FGO, etc, etc. It's your gear that ends up getting upgraded through dupes, as well as just materials that you end up grinding throughout the game. Now in combat, every character is going to have 3 skills here. We're going to have 1 basic attack that is not going to cost anything. We're going to have a skill 1, which these skills are also levelable. They show what they do right here. They have a cooldown on each of them, so 2 separate skills there. And then the highest rarity of characters are also going to have this Augie, this whatever you want to call it, Limit Break, whatever, you know, is easiest for you to say. The highest rarity characters are the only ones who have these, and these are filled up just by attacking and maybe getting hit. I really don't remember. It's honestly been a little bit since I touched this game, since I was waiting for some more bugs to be fixed. We got a very simple element system, and what's nice is when you are highlighting a character, it's actually going to tell you which characters are going to be weak to whatever, you know, element you're using at that moment. There's also an auto button, and there is a fast forward button, which I am just going to hit auto to show what it looks like in standard speed right here. Pretty smooth animations. I did mention earlier though that this game does have varying performance issues. My phone, for one, does have a pretty major performance issue, but I'm running it on BlueStacks right now with some weird fucking settings that I feel like no game should really have. I'm running on 1 core because apparently that is the suggested setting for performance, as well as that prevents it from crashing as often. This is what it looks like in standard speed. Looks very smooth, looks very nice, very clean. Now we're going to go ahead and do the double speed option, which of course is, you know, never going to be turned off, basically ever, for anybody playing the game. And also looks just fine. A little goofy at times because everything's pretty quick, but, you know, that's exactly what you want when you're going to be playing a game where you're going to be grinding a lot of, and there is quite a bit of a grind to this game. Right now we're looking at the arena mode, and I don't know if this bug's fixed yet. Like I said, it's been a few days since I've actually been playing the game, so I'm not monitoring every single bug and issue that I've personally had and trying to see if they're all fixed. But one thing is that you have pretty standard 5 event currency for the PvP matches, so you can do 5 PvP runs before you run through all of your PvP stamina, and each PvP stamina recovers at the rate of 1.5 hours for 1. Now this, yeah, it sounds like a long time, but it gets worse. And as I said, I don't know if this is fixed yet by now. I guess I could test here real quick. So I guess we'll find out in a bit. But the way it worked, hopefully it doesn't work this way anymore, is not only is there an 1.5 hour timer, but if you are then to use another one of those PvP tokens to enter another match before your next stamina has recovered, it'll actually reset that timer. So if I was at like 4 out of 5 and then I, you know, use 1, and now I'm at 3 out of 5, say I only had like an hour left to recover my my 4th piece of stamina, and now it just got reset because I used it. So now it's all the way back to 1.5 hours. Very dumb system, because that means that if this is, you know, how it was actually designed to be, it means that you're supposed to do everything in one shot. You're supposed to do everything in 5 runs, and nothing really in between. Otherwise, you know, there's a little bit of FOMO there. You're missing out. You're resetting that timer, you're basically screwing yourself. So that is the combat in a nutshell. You know, you got the elemental weaknesses, you got skills that you level up, you got characters that you level up, and they have special moves. There's really not anything bigger or less to say about the system. It's a very straightforward system that you see in a lot of hero collectors. And let's see here. So we're looking at an hour and 15 right now for the timer. Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm just going to pop into one more real quick, and then I'm going to drop out. There I am retiring. Also, as a side note, if you end up disconnecting, you're going to get your PvP match considered as a loss. Also, another funny thing, if I can actually look at the notes for this. Oh, I'm sorry, it's an hour and 20 minutes, but there you go. Went to an hour 19, so it did reset. And one thing I want to look at is if it says it in the rules, as this is a really interesting rule that I don't know if it was changed or not real quick, so I'm going to scroll through this real quick. Alright, it is the exact same. So grade rewards. Grade rewards are determined by a player's grade at the end of a season. These rewards are sent to each player's gift box at the start of the following season. You must have participated in at least 40 battles over the course of the season to be eligible for ranking and grade rewards. That means these are 2 chunks of rewards you're going to get just for participating in PvP that you are not eligible for unless you do 40 battles over the course of one season. A season sounds pretty long, right? You're fucking wrong. A season is a week to less than a week. The 26th to the 1st of August. So this season ends here. Coupled by the fact that it's an hour and 20 minutes to wait for each bit of stamina to go, and the fact that it resets every time you use a stamina unless you're, you know, one-shotting all 5 of your stamina. So the game expects you not only use these every day of the week, but then some. So it wants you to log in multiple times throughout the day. And granted, it's not a lot if you're like, you know, this is a main game for you, but for people that are going to play some of these games a lot more casually or don't want to actively be playing a game, it's something that they just want to do on the side, you know, log in, get some stuff, save up resources and whatnot, and play the game when they really feel like it. It means you're basically getting boned out of a lot of PvP rewards here. It is honestly just like nitpicking at this point, but I feel like there's a lot of these kind of things that just really add up. Mostly the bugs adding up, but a lot of these issues just kind of add up for me personally. And without getting too in-depth with everything, there is a guild system available. I don't believe there's any actual specific guild content available just yet, but there is a guild system available right here. There, as I just showed, was a PvP. There is a raid system. Raid system, just to boil it down real quick, it's basically, if you've played Grand Blue Fantasy or are familiar with that at all, it's basically a DPS race. The people who are hitting it the most, doing the most damage, are going to be getting the most rewards out of all of the raids. The BP, or the raid currency, honestly, the issue I have with this is kind of backwards compared to the arena issue, is the fact that you have 10 BP. I don't remember the rate at which this recovers. It doesn't take too long for it to recover. It might be an hour per BP, but each raid so far is just taking 1 BP, and this is a lot. You actually have to sit here for quite a while to burn through all of this BP, and that's not counting the amount of times that you're going to rank up when you're starting playing the game, and it's expecting you to grind raids a lot. And I'm not a fan of that. I kind of wish that there was an option to burn more BP quickly to kind of get done with the raids a lot faster. Otherwise, this ends up being quite a bit of a time sink right here just to burn through all of your BP. Once again, not even considering the fact that you're going to be ranking up as well. I know some people that are already racked up, you know, when they're starting off the game, hundreds of BP just because it's too long to just go and do raid grinding. So there's my gripe with that one. Now, in the main quest modes, there is story, there are limited quests to, you know, these are where you're going to find your events and whatnot, so you can get, you know, event characters and goodies whenever it comes to all the new events. This is your daily farming quests, you know, the power-up and the Gald quest, and it does launch with the tower system, so, you know, very standard. You've played games with the tower system. You climb the tower, and each first time clear you get, you're going to get rewards. And just to kind of give a better visual, I think I flashed it earlier just very briefly. Whenever you go in here, if your time zone isn't set to JST, some of the quests are working, as you can see. Like, I have water and wind, for whatever reason, that are working. It says 14 hours left, but literally everything else, this is the weekend, so all these things are up right now. It says time is up, which means I can't run any of them, but they still show. So I click them. This quest period has already ended, but it actually hasn't. If I change my time zone to JST, these will now match up with the rest of these, and I will be able to run everything just fine. And this bug has been here since launch, and as I stated earlier, I don't know why this isn't fixed yet. Now, looking at story, there's a lot of gems to be had here. There's a lot of materials you're going to want to grind to upgrade all of your characters in the story, and there are I believe three difficulties for each one. As I said, the story is pretty good, honestly. I'm genuinely surprised whenever I can say a story in a gacha game is good. I actually think it's worth reading through. I think the voice acting is pretty good. If you're a Tales fan, I think that this is going to be, you know, right up your alley. They also add in side stories for a lot of the original characters from the actual, you know, the real Tales of games. and give you a little bit of backstory of their characters and maybe some of the characters around them and how they kind of fit into this specific world. Like I said, we're not going to go into all of like the flavor details and whatnot. The characters can have skins, which are most likely going to be acquired through gotching the different like alternate versions of characters. As you can see, I got everybody wearing dumb top hats and having like these thick ass eyebrows. So they do have attachments from the 3D Tales games as well. So you get to kind of customize the way all your characters look, whether that's being dumb as shit or, you know, cool as shit. There's a time box which wants you to not necessarily be logged in for these amounts of times, but here it says available in an hour. I just have to make sure I collected the subsequent rewards, and now if I go log off for an hour and then log back in, this next reward's going to be available, and then this one's 2 hours. But the system is also designed to kind of make you log in 4 times throughout the day, basically, except here. I mean, you can argue that it only wants you to log in 3 times a day at least, but this is just one of many systems in place that a lot of gacha games have, but I think this one is such an obvious one that makes you, you know, they want you to be logging into this game at multiple times throughout the day. They want you to always be thinking about Crestoria, and that's one of the ways they do it. And before I go very quickly into characters, we're going to look at summons. Now, the gacha rates are surprisingly good. I believe they are 5%. Let me double check, because it's been a hot minute since I've really cared about any of the rates in these banners. That's not where the drop rates are. It literally says drop rates right there, Adachi Blind. Yeah, SSRs are 5%. They really split it up for every individual summon. You know how, like, you know, you do 10 summons and then the last one is guaranteed SR+. The highest rarity being SSR and the lowest being rare. You are pulling for Memoria Stones here, those pieces of gear that I was talking about earlier. And at the moment, the only Memoria Stones that also come with characters the first time you pull them, once again, this is reminiscent of the Grand Blue Fantasy system where you pull pieces of gear, or Sinnoh Alice now. If you pull pieces of gear the first time you pull it, you will also get a character with it. And that is only going to be available for SRs and SSRs. The rares are just the stones, the pieces of gear themselves. A couple of issues I have with the gacha system is, one, there's summer banners going on right now. And in nowhere in the details does it say that these are limited time. And these are also the first banners to really come out for the game itself. But anybody who's, you know, this isn't your first rodeo, this isn't the first time you're playing a gacha game, nowhere in the details does it say that this is limited, nowhere does it say this is not limited. I've asked other people who are currently playing this game more often than I am, and nobody really has a clear, definite answer whether or not these are actually going to go away once this banner is over, or if they're going to get added into the general pool. Hell, you don't know if that's going to be the case for literally any of the raid-up banners going forward. And before I get into more grapes, I have the summons. This is the raid-up banner. This is just their kind of, I guess, the release banner. Very standard stuff there, you know, kind of be like your general pool pulls right there. There is an arena gacha right here with arena summon only characters. At the moment, it is just Kronos. Maybe this will change in the future. And then friend point summons for some different materials. Now, the other issue I have with the summoning system itself is, although it has generous rates, right? I clicked the wrong fucking button again. Although it has that generous, nice 5%. Now, not a lot of games are giving you 5%. When it comes to, like, just the characters, you know, usually it'll be split between gear and characters and whatnot. The issue I have with that, though, is once we go into character upgrading. So let's go ahead and go into characters, just characters itself. We won't look at Memoria Stones just yet. But when we go over to Awaken, what's this? Select Memoria. So this is the character I unlocked when I pulled this Memoria itself right here. For the first time, I got this stand. Cool stuff. And I want to awaken this. I'm going to need to use that Memoria Stone I have. Not only am I going to need to use that Memoria Stone, I need to use 5 Memoria Stones, meaning that not only did I have to pull this guy once to get him and his Memoria Stone, which I probably want to equip to him. This is debatable, you know, whether or not going forward in the future that this is going to be very important to have to keep around to equip to him, or to just throw it into him for the Awaken, and then, you know, slap on a different Memoria Stone as a piece of gear instead. But I need to awaken him 5 times, not only to increase the base stats, which, you know, that could be considered, you know, more of whale territory. That's fair, that's fine. But also, in this big passive right here, they have unique passives at on each character, and you have to get them all max awaken in order to get it. And plus 12% attack to all allies, plus 5 to the over limit gauge to fire allies every 1 turn. And of course, this is going to scale and be better or worse depending on the character. But this is still a big boost right here. This is still something huge that we're missing out. Oh, but it doesn't end there. No, next we have to go look at the Memoria Stones, because we can't end it right there. The Memoria Stones also are going to want dupes if you want to get the most out of them. Which one is it called? I think it's called, is this the Ascend? Yes, the Ascend. The Memory Stones have stats associated with them, they have levels, and then they have this Ascension level, 1 out of 6. So we have the 1 right here, they just come at level 1, plus 8% crit rates. If I had more, I don't have any more, this goes up a total of 5 more times. So the game wants you to pull one of them to get the character and the Memory Stone. That's great. Great rates. No problem with that at all. In fact, this might not even be that terrible when it's just like a single character on rate up. But now it wants me to get 10 dupes of the character. My math might be off by 1. Maybe it's 9, maybe it's 11. I think it's 10 dupes, though, that it wants you to get the most out of your character. You might say, Adachi, that's not a big deal, you know? You could just focus on a couple of characters, and this is all very true. This is all subjective as the game is only a few weeks old. There is no prior version to really base off of whether or not this is going to be something that's even necessary, and it could just be doom posting. But it's something that I do want to keep in mind for people that think, you know, other games that have dupes or shard systems that think that those are a little greedy, and then you look at this and it wants you to get 10 dupes for a character. What's really going to make that pay to win or not is the amount of power creep the game is going to have going forward, as well as the amount of characters that come out consistently. Only time will really tell how greedy that system ends up becoming, but at the moment it's just a red flag for me, as well as the bugs, as well as the other small issues that pile up for me personally. There's a lot of red flags on this game that makes me not really want to proceed forward with it. It's too bad because I think that this game is bogged down by a lot of little issues surrounding more along the lines of probably company decisions, more so than decisions that were meant to keep the player base engaged or celebrate a player base, which of course these games are here to make money, but as I said, I just think that that is personally my opinion on it. Is I feel a lot of greed coming from this game, I feel a lot of red flags coming from this game, and I can't say I love the packages in this game, not these ones specifically. Let me see if I can find them. These are fine in my opinion. The regular Gleamstone prices, that's what the currency is called, the premium currency for pulling. These are pretty standard for literally any game, but, you know, most people who aren't whales aren't buying at the base rate. They're usually buying bundles and whatnot that end up coming out, and the base rate is usually just for whales because the value is just not there. And they also offer these reward passes, which just don't seem like reward passes whatsoever. This one is 5,000 Gleamstones. That is 2 multis right there, worth over 20 days. So they want you to spend $40 for 5,000 Gleamstones. We check in just to see kind of for comparison. It's a slight discount from this bundle or this package right here, but it's over the course of 20 days, which I find to be an interesting decision. Again, this is super nitpicky right here, but this one isn't. Log in every day for Gleamstones, up to 1,000 available. $8 for 1,000. And how many days is it? There we go. Beautiful. It is 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I believe you can buy these monthly. 2 weeks to get 1,000. That's not even half of a multi right there. The price isn't what bothers me. It's the fact that they want you to wait 2 weeks to get 1,000, which isn't even half of the currency. It'd be different if this is like, hey, once a month you can get this bundle right here, $8, and you can get 1 multi if you wait 14 days. But in this case, it's not even half of a multi. And although there isn't a comparison really directly to this, when it comes to the base price, which, you know, you never really want to compare that when it comes to bundles, $8, which is the same price as this, is half of that. So it's like, okay, so this is a better deal. But then you look at the 3 times a month right here, I can also spend $8 and just get 1,000 right here for the same price. Maybe a little difference in tax. I don't know. I think the bundles are super weird, though. They don't really make a whole lot of sense to me as somebody. It doesn't really make much sense to me as a cheap to play, as a dolphin, as a whale. I do want people to take this video with a grain of salt. I feel like I've personally just been bothered by a lot of things when it comes to this game. So especially that last bit with the bundles, I feel might have been a bit nitpicky. But yeah, I think that this could potentially be an excellent game, you know. Nothing really breaking the boundaries or, you know, changing the game whatsoever. But I think this is their best made Tales game that they've done yet. I just think that it has plenty of issues, and the amount of bugs, in my opinion, are just inexcusable. 2 weeks into launch, maybe it was excusable for the first week, I get it, you know, there's issues, there's server, blah, 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 blah. But not only did they have beta tests for this game, they now have launched this game with, if not no bugs fixed, pretty much no bugs fixed, as well as they do these posts that say which bugs are being addressed, and there's still a plethora of bugs that are not even on that list. And I'm rambling at this point. Yeah, try it out for yourself. You know, maybe you're not going to be bogged down by these issues specifically, but I'm talking more as in general than it is to every, you know, specific player's experience with the game. So as always, thank you all for watching. Let me know if you thought that I covered it too much or too little when it came to this game specifically. And apologies for the many rants. I'll see you in the next one.